this is a real life example of weird brilliance in action and how it unfolds over time. It's not the kind of thing that you magically create and then all of a sudden it all just rolls out. It does take time for the ideas to flow and also for the person who is at the center of this strategy to actually come around to it and actually see it and feel it. And this was earlier on in my work when I was still trying to work out what was the magic in all of this. I kept on hearing it from other people, but I couldn't quite grasp it myself and then talk to it. And this was one of the turning points for me. And the case study is on Dr. Irina Yashinshaw, and a number of my clients have heard me speak about her before, and some of you no doubt know her. And she's a total rock star. And I met her, we're probably talking 2017. She was one of the very first people I photographed in my studio. And so, the studio was pretty much bare when we did this shoot. It's not like it is now, but we still created some pretty epic magic that day. And I remember Irina coming to me initially. We'd known each other before then and met at speakers events and that sort of thing. And she had come to me and she had said, Louise, a coach of hers at the time was saying to her, you need to get a photo of yourself for your book launch that's coming up. And it should be of you leaning against, this was the instruction, I want you to be leaning against a plain wall with your hand in your pocket looking nicely to the camera. And she told me this and I was like, oh, okay, we can do that. Sure, we can do that. I mean, that's the least we should be doing. That's the least we should be doing. I think we could do better than that, but we will cover that off. We'll get that happening for you. So that was the bar that we set, but I knew that the bar was going to go way higher than that. And so this was the photo we created for that purpose that she was talking about. I think we matched that pretty well. And I think it looks the part. I think it looks exactly what she was looking for. And so we spent all day pretty much photographing in the studio. And, she's a creative and I'm a creative. We're both those creative archetypes. And she's an expert in innovation and creativity and works with a lot of very conservative government and very, very red tape based organisations. And so, they bring her in for her innovation expertise. And there's an element of, I want to turn up and not look foolish, which I can totally understand. And she's also dealing with biases already with, being a woman. She's also very short-statured. And she won't mind me saying that because we actually use that to our advantage in some of the brand positioning that we did. We actually played with it because if you've got it, use it. And some of the ideas that we played with on the day, we'd already kind of nutted out a little bit before the shoot. And through the Ignite process and the mentoring that I do with clients before they even get in front of the camera. But on this particular day, Irina had brought in with her a bag of goodies, of things to play with, different props and what have you. And one of them at the bottom of the bag that we hadn't even looked at until probably, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, were her glasses. These sunglasses her husband had put in the bag, and she looked at me and she held them up. She's like, do you really think I should use these? I don't think we need to use these. We've done lots of things today. We don't need to do them. And I gasped and I said, oh my gosh, no, we are doing something with those glasses. They look epic. And let's get those pearls that you've got there too. Let's kind of mix it up a bit and see if we can kind of shake things up. Because when I go through a photo shoot process with someone, I'm competitive with myself and I'm constantly listening to what the person is saying back to me of how much they feel like the photos have inspired them or really kind of delighted them in some way that they were a bit surprised by. And I hadn't quite heard that yet from Irina on that day. So I was like, I've got to get the shot. And so I knew that this look was going to be it. She wasn't so sure. And so she's looking at the camera and we got the music up because I use music a lot for pattern interrupting and embodiment work in my photo shoots. And I was saying to her, so what do you want the client to understand? What do you want them to know? And she's like, I just want them to disrupt the status quo. I just want them to break things up and shake things up. And I said, I just don't believe you. Like she wasn't really giving it. She wasn't even giving it the gumption that I just did then. She was tired. She was a bit, worn out from a whole day of shooting, understandably so. And so I kept on baiting her kind of on purpose because I'm like, let's get the energy out of you and show it on the camera. And so I keep on asking her more and more probing questions. It's kind of just rehashing the same thing over and over again. And eventually she just goes, I just want them to disrupt the status quo. Did we get it, Louise? Did we get it? And I'm like, oh, did we get it? We got it. We did get it. And I saw it on the back of the camera and I was like, this is the photo. And so she comes back a couple of days later to do the ordering session and we go through in an ordering session all of the cold photos, the best of the best photos, and we talk strategy. And a lot of people find that process alone really super helpful, just like a lot of the Ignite work that I do early on. And so we're sitting there and I'm about to show her the photo and comes up on the screen and she's like, I don't know, Louise. I don't know whether I can do that. That is a bit out there. Louise. And I was like, Irina, if you don't buy this photo, I'm going to kick your butt. I believe in this photo that much. We need to take out another photo if that's the case because you need this photo. And I fought for it. I do fight for some photos because I can see things you can't see just yet, right? I can see where the storyline can go. And she's like, oh, okay, I'll trust you. So she's about to go away overseas to a conference and she says to me, okay, I'm going to call you on it. I want you to create for me a flyer that I hand out on the day and it'll have some of my IP on it plus this photo. I'm like, okay, challenge accepted. And so we proceed to do that. We get that all prepped. She goes over for the event and she messages me after her presentation. She's like, Louise, you wouldn't believe what's happened. And I'm like, tell me what's happened. Go on. Surprise me. She's like, people were coming up to me, like lining up, wanting to talk to me and saying, can we get a photo with you? And can we all be doing this pose? And she's like, yeah, sure. And so she proceeds to observe this, what felt like a phenomenon to her. And I'm hearing her retell this story and I'm like, don't want to say I told you so, but but she's trying to catch up in her mind, right? She's trying to get her mind to catch up to the idea of this isn't just a headshot. This is something else. I'm like, yeah, it is. So this is the photo that we ended up with. Now, for some people, they would think that is pretty scary. They're like, oh, that's a bit out there. That's a bit out there. But, you would have no qualms in choosing that if it was a stock image. You just weren't in it. The beauty here was that this was her. So I said to her, I want you to go away now and I want you to buy a whole stack of those glasses. And when you go to workshops and events, I want you to get the people that are attending those events to wear the glasses and do the pose and take some photos. She's like, okay, I kind of believe you now. And so this is what happened. She went away and she started doing workshops where she would actually have these things present and people would get into it. And then she messages me a little while later and she's like, I'm going to be running a summit called the Australian Entrepreneurs Summit. And I want you to come and photograph the event. And I have a surprise for you. And I'm like, oh, you're going to surprise me now. Okay. And she does. Because she says to me, I have bought, I think it was 200 of these glasses, different kind of glasses, but similar. And I've had, I think she had engraving on it with Australian Entrepreneurs Summit. And I'm going to hand them out with the goodie bags. And I want photos of the room with everybody doing this pose. And I'm like, this is beautiful. This is just beautiful. Love it. Love it. And so we lead up to the event. I'm helping her with creating some booklets where we actually have the photo again on the front cover, plus other photos in between, bringing the messaging all the way through. I said to her, I need you to bring the pose of the hand, plus the necklace, plus the eye, plus the glasses. I want you to tap that into your IP for your actual presentation. And she did. Because when you think about it, innovation, especially in conservative industries and government organisations where there's lots of red tape, rose-coloured glasses, the filters of what we see our work and policies and procedures through, it all matched. It all matched beautifully. And I could see this right back when we were doing the photo shoot. And people don't believe me when I say I can see around corners with this stuff a little bit, because I can see the potential of an idea or a prop or a story before you can. I just need to hold the space for you to be able to catch up to it and then run with it. And so it comes to the day of the conference. She's up on stage, gets everybody to put their glasses on. And here they are here. Now, you've got people here from, Queensland Health, Main Roads, all the different organisations that, government organisations that are quite conservative, but they're all doing the face. Like if I zoom in, I can't do it right here now, but if I zoom in, you'll be able to see everybody doing that face. And it was epic. It was amazing. It was glorious to observe. And then we brought everybody together and they did it again in a group shot. And that was just magical. And then we did like a media wall where I observed people going up to the media wall without me being there, or Irina, and each of them as a little group doing the pose. It became a phenomenon. It became her thing. And it all matched back perfectly to her sass, to her personality, to, how she disrupts herself personally, not just her work, but her personally. And it became a movement, literally. And that's what I love doing with my clients, either with purely the coaching that I do and the messaging and all of that strategic work around your positioning, But then also if we can put it into photos and actually have it, become part of the storytelling. And then what happens is, and why this worked so well for Irina and her customers, is that they could see themselves. They could see themselves in that photo of Irina. If you look at that photo, we can all see ourselves in that photo. Well, I think we can. And particularly people that, are trying to push against the status quo, people who are, wanting something better and different and strategic and innovative. And that's why it worked so beautifully, so beautifully. It's one of my most favorite stories to tell, because it just went beautifully. And watching Irina blossom through that process, I would hear people come to me and actually say, what did you do with Irina? Because she's just elevated to a next level again. And that was magical to watch as well, because I truly believe that this work is transformative, both personally and business-wise. It literally can change lives. And that's why I adore it just so, so much.